Hello, friends. Welcome to another edition of Just a Couple of Guys with your hosts. This guy here, he claims to sing in the shower. He claims that he wants to be a part-time vocalist. And I know he wants to be on center stage. He's Pat Crimmins.
Oh, geez.
My partner.
Thanks, Ray. I appreciate
I set that up only because of our guest today, who is a singer. And I know that you really like to sing. You really do.
We're always looking for a side gig as we approach retirement.
Well,
maybe a band.
Well, listen.
The Dirty Frogs.
It just crossed my mind that it's probably almost a year ago, we were at the Comedy Vault in Batavia, and we tried to talk you into a 3-minute stand-up. Sure. But maybe if you incorporated some singing into that comedy of yours,
I got you.
You become a hit.
I got you.
And this becomes then a nice side situation where you get a little extra cash coming in on the side.
I turn it all into a sitcom.
Well, that's possible too. Anyway,
we'd have you on,
but we bring all this up about
Kevin.
singing
We'll
and
Kevin and John, but...
Kevin would join. We bring all this up because we have a special guest today who is in this field of providing melodious. Her melodious voice provides song to a variety of people in a variety of situations. Maureen Christine, St. Charles' own.
Someone you should know.
Well, she will be someone that a lot of people are going to know here. Right. A lot of people already know her.
I don't know.
She's got a national. Well, we'll introduce you to her, and she's got a national presence there. She's done a lot of work nationally, and then of course in the Midwest here, and of course overseas as well. Maureen Christine will join us in a little while to talk about song and beautiful music, and all of that will take place after a word from one of our fine sponsors. You stay tuned.
It's nice work.
The Kane County Cougars are back for the summer. The best family entertainment around features sunshine, baseball, and fireworks through Labor Day. With great food, world-class entertainment, exciting giveaways, and running the bases after every game, there's something for everyone at a Cougars game. Thirsty Thursdays feature $2 beer, pop, and half-price hot dogs. And for Sunday day games, a $15 ticket will get you $15 right back in concessions cash to spend at the ballpark. Come on out to beautiful Northwestern Medicine Field this summer for sunshine, baseball, and fireworks, and make your family memories today.
Well, we're back and very pleased to have with us a young lady who is a talented, award-winning vocalist, and I'm proud to say St. Charles' own.
Oh,
the woman with two names, first names.
Two first names.
Maureen Christine. Maureen, a pleasure to have you. And of course, we've already said off camera, I like the color.
We do. We're matchies today. Oh. Great to see you. Great to see you.
Thanks for coming.
Glad to be here.
Isn't Cher the only one with one name?
Oh, I don't know. Madonna.
Madonna.
See, how did you miss? She's going to rattle 3 or 4 off, and you're going to be... Well,
just giving
Pat,
you know.
Once again, remind, never ask and bring something up that you don't know the answer to already.
I thought I did.
We've already discussed that. All right, anyway.
There's still time for you to change your name. And you can get name changes No, go ahead.
All right. We always start with our guests usually by having them tell the audience a bit about themselves in terms of background, where you're from, where'd you go to high school, college, et cetera, and so that is the basic foundation.
All right. Well, I have been living here in St. Charles with my husband and various Dobermans for 19 years, and I grew up in McHenry. I went to West Campus High School, and that's an elementary school in McHenry too. That's really where I got my start. 7 years old.
I was going to say, can I assume that you were in the McHenry West High School choir?
I was, and my choir director was incredibly helpful to me. Helped me learn how to read music. Really, I always had a voice since I was 7 years old. I sang my first solo. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Very nice.
And this big voice came out, and I knew in that moment that I was meant to sing.
And were you ever in a play in high school?
Yeah, I was in Little Abner. Remember that one?
That's the story of the little person, Abner. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't think so. No. And The Sound of Music.
Oh, yes.
I was...
that just makes sense that you were in The Sound of Music.
Yeah. I wanted the role of Maria, but I actually got the role of the nun because I could sing the highest out of anyone. So I sang all the high notes and climb every mountain. In the end, that worked out
Very nice.
to my favor.
All right.
Yeah.
After high school, then what? Then, we're just trying to build up some building blocks here toward where we are today. So go ahead.
So one of my first performances was actually something that I still love to do today. It was performing for like a senior luncheons. And that's
Because they can't hear.
Yeah, right. No, because they're the best listening audience that there is. They appreciate great music. So yeah, that was the start. And then my first commercial, I was 15 years old, and I sang for McHenry Savings.
Oh.
McHenry Savings is always where you'll find
I think I remember
honest
that.
answers to all your financial questions. You'll enjoy the way we work together. Yeah.
Wow.
And then my
Lyrics
first
need some work, though, huh?
Yeah, well,
yeah.
my first actual where I was full-time singer was Six Flags Great America. And I did 6 shows a day, 5 days a week, and then I was in a band, and I
shows
just
a day.
knew. Yeah, I knew.
Were you like that automated Lincoln? Is that what you did? Like, you were part of a show?
Yeah, I was part of the show.
Oh, not just singing by yourself.
Oh no, part of the
That's what
show
I'm
you had to dance, and you had to sing, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Matter of fact, for all the dancing scenes, they put me in the back because I wasn't that good of a dancer. But for all the singing parts, I was up front, down center.
Well,
Yeah.
okay,
Nice.
so you're building a resume here, and as we get into the conversation here, we're talking about the fact that you do have you have had and continue to have a national presence. So talk to us a bit about the road to get to that piece, where now you're starting to engage with national figures.
Right. So when I got married, my husband and I put out my first CD, My Romance, and it got picked up by a record label out in LA, LML Records.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they put that out, and that was received Grammy consideration. I was in the same category as Harry Connick Jr. and Rosemary Clooney. Harry Connick Jr. won that year because his record label had much more advertising dollars.
Sure.
But I was invited, I got to go, and I think really, in terms of stepping stones, that kind of solidified my the direction that I was going. And then I received an invitation the next year to sing for Buzz Aldrin, the second astronaut
Yes, sure.
to walk on the moon. And so I did some opening ceremonies for him, and I was invited to sing for the Cubs, Wrigley Field, the national anthem. So for a while I was doing the national anthem for a lot of different political figures in movies, things like that. And so things kind of have a way of parlaying themselves.
Well, Pat's the attorney here, so I would ask the question: as you built on this, did you have an agent?
I had some agents that booked me for different concerts and events, but I didn't have one sole agent that represented me for everything that I did.
Did you meet George Clooney, Rosemary's son?
Oh, that would have been nice.
You would have
I
remembered
did
that?
not.
Oh.
I met Mariah Carey and Celine Dion briefly at the Grammy party afterwards, and Pink, and some other really well-known
I know
artists.
this podcast isn't about me, but I met Harry Connick's dad.
Oh,
He was the state's attorney in Louisiana.
And speaking of George Clooney, entertainment.
Yes.
No, he was on. He spotlighted on 60 Minutes last night. He's making Broadway. He's going to do the
right.
Edward R. Murrow
That's right.
piece, which I thought looked like it's pretty dramatic and looked like a good spot for him. He's in his early 60s now, and I think.
Well, he did that
that'd be
movie, the Edward Morrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Now, it's my understanding you recorded also with people from the Johnny Carson show, and you shared a stage with Barry Manilow. And
I want to hear about that only because we're Facebook friends, and I know you like Barry Manilow a lot. I see his picture on your Facebook page every now and then, so we can talk a little bit about you and Barry Manilow?
So I think Barry Manilow was one of my biggest inspirations as a young girl, because I got to see what that looks like when someone is performing. And so I went to the concert at Ravinia, and it really changed my life. It solidified not only what I love to do, but what you could do. And so I'm like, oh, I could do that. I could do concerts. I can have musicians. I can have my own band. I can play songs that I wrote. And so that love of Barry Manilow goes back as kind of a mentorship that maybe he didn't realize or know. And then I went to a convention. I performed one of the songs that I wrote. He gave me an award for that. We talked afterwards. He invited me to sing in his chorus. I know some of his musicians. I've worked with them.
You work with him in Vegas?
I have worked with some of his musicians, like his pianist and the drummer, but I haven't worked with Barry in Vegas.
This guy here, though, you said he's an inspiration. At 80 years of age, he's got a residency at the Westgate in Vegas now. I mean, so he's rolling along real well.
You notice most of your singer types, they live a long life. It must be the lungs for the singing. It must be good for you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Maybe I'll take up singing, Ray.
Oh.
Are you with me?
Well, you referred to some of your. In fact, never mind. I'll get to that later on.
The comedy vault. So open for Willie Nelson, I see.
Yeah, open for Willie Nelson. Opened for Helen Reddy.
I Am Woman.
Yeah, I Am Woman.
Here
Delta Dawn.
Yes.
Yeah. You and Me Against the World.
And the Count Basie Orchestra.
Yeah, musicians of the _𝐂𝐴𝐶 Orchestra. So my husband and I were invited to perform at a jazz convention. And so there were the _𝐂𝐴𝐶 Orchestra was there performing. And so I connected with some of the musicians and performed with them.
Bebop and scat.
Well, nobody quite does it like Ella Fitzgerald.
That's right.
But I love the Great American Songbook. So what I love about music and the music that I sing is the ability to tell a story and to connect with an audience.
What's your favorite genre?
Well, my favorite genre is probably the Great American Songbook. So George and Ira Gershwin and Johnny Mercer and Rodgers and Hammerstein, all of that. But then I'm also partial to the music of the 70s. I love the singer-songwriters from the 70s, like we mentioned, Helen Reddy and Barry Manilow and John Denver Foghat. Well, that's not probably I mean, I appreciate him, but the things that I would be singing: Olivia Newton-John, The Carpenters, all of that.
Did you do plays and stuff, or no?
I did in high school,
but you didn't beyond that.
No, because I was already doing my own concerts and performances. I already had established my own band, so I really like to choose my own music, perform my own music, have the band back me up.
Now. Speaking of being a solid, strong singer that's got a presence, whether it be nationally or in state or at the local level, I know for a fact, I'm witness to this, but I know for a fact that you like to give back to the community, and anybody who's successful and does that seemed like a natural thing to do, is to give back. And we know that you've performed for the VFW. We know that you were involved in a national competition for a campaign song that finished first back in your home territory, the United Way of McHenry. And personally, I know that you bring your voice to Mass here in St. Charles at my church and your church, St. John Newman, and you do a wonderful job, and it's very inspirational to go to Mass when you're singing. Having said all that, talk to us a bit about that philosophy as a singer to do such.
Well, I feel so fortunate and blessed to be able to do what I love and to have known that that's what I was meant to do since I was a young girl. I started singing in my church at 12 years old, and that's really where I developed my love of songwriting. So it's just always been part of the core of who I am. And then just being able to give back through music. I mean, what better way to be able to use my gifts in an important way. And so Pioneer Center was a precursor for United Way, and they helped people with intellectual disabilities. And so they were involved in United Way, and then I was asked to write a song for their campaign. And so I did, and it happened to win first place in the nation. So that was just a beautiful way of letting me know that I was on the right path and doing what I was supposed to do and giving back to the community. I really love to do that. And singing at church is another way to do that. There's just something beautiful about those hymns and what they say and how they can comfort people. I love to sing for funerals for the same reason.
I know you've talked about that before, that you will perform at a funeral, and of course, to have someone who's doing the right job there is very important. I've gone to 2 wakes in the last 3 or 4 days,
Yeah.
and you're exactly correct that the presence and how you deliver is so important, not only for the singer but for the person who's performing the service, et cetera, with the family in mind.
Well, music is the universal language for everything, and in a situation like a memorial service or a funeral, it reaches people in the heart where words just can't. It's just a feeling that connects from one person to the next, and so my voice is connecting with people, and hopefully in that setting, comforting people in a special way.
Let's also mention the fact that your resume talks about playing with big bands, concert bands, symphony orchestras, jazz clubs, and I'd be interested in talking about the jazz clubs because I'm a big jazz aficionado. And then, not only performing here in the Midwest, but you have performed overseas, Italy, Germany. Talk to our audience a bit about all of those experiences.
So it's funny because music, I really wear a lot of different hats. So we talked about the funerals and the weddings and church and, national anthem and the CDs with the Great American Songbook. And so I've sung with big band. I love big band, probably because my grandfather loved big band jazz and all of that. And there's just something fantastic about having 16 musicians playing that wall of sound and that classic singing and songs, and then concert band, symphony orchestra. I have probably 20 special arrangements for symphony pops. And matter of fact, one of the arrangers worked for NBC Studios way back when in the day. He also had arranged for Frank Sinatra. So that same arranger arranged for me. It's just amazing. So I wear all those different hats, and traveling to Germany and Italy and singing there was just a joy.
What venues over there did you sing?
Well, in Germany, I was with a concert band that then brought out musicians to create a 16-piece big band. And we did festivals, and we did a concert hall. Yeah, of course. And everybody's out there with their beer, and they're sitting there, and they're just enjoying the music. They were such an appreciative audience. And I just love that.
How about those Italians?
Yeah, O Sole Mio, Torre Sorrento.
See?
Yeah, well, I'm half Italian, so.
I've said it often.
As I am.
That's right.
That's why I thought I'd ask.
Now, can you pre-book for a funeral in case maybe I wanted to get that in writing and get that all paid up in advance?
Yeah, actually, some people have done that where they have arranged in advance for me to sing them out.
That's why they call them arrangements.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I know you want her to talk about only because you're a big fan. I know you.
You skip right over the deck.
Yeah, let's move along.
Pat's never gonna die.
Accentuate the positive.
This has something to do with you. I know you're a huge Cub fan.
Yes.
And I watched the whole anthem on YouTube and her performance. Your hair was a little frizzier that day.
It was, that was
humidity.
It was just the style.
Oh, okay. All right.
Us women, we change up our styles.
Well, but what about that? I mean, it seems to me that, if I may, I don't think I've ever heard a national anthem performed better. This may sound strange.
I don't know where it's going.
An all-star game in Pittsburgh, Meatloaf.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God!
Oh, yeah.
I don't. Now, deference to you, but I don't know if I've heard anything better than that performance of the national anthem. But this may sound strange, but just talk about time leading up to having to get out on the field there and belt that thing out for 40,000 people.
Well, that actually was one of the things that initially was arranged by an agent, and he
All right.
kind of made the initial connection, and then I had to submit, my performance of singing that song, and I had already had quite a bit of experience for different corporate events where I was the gal that they were calling to open the event with the national anthem, close the event with God Bless America,
Right.
but I was excited. Sing for the Cubs, sing
Sure.
down at Wrigley Field. Yeah, so
Free hot dog.
the weird thing about that, though, is the incredible delay. So the organ is way up in the box, and you're down in the field. And so they tell you just stay ahead of the music. So, in music, when you're singing and performing it with the band, you want to be in parallel. But because there was such a delay, you had to almost sing before you heard the music playing. But I was just like, yeah, this is awesome.
Okay.
So I wasn't nervous about it. I was excited about doing that.
I'll probably have you back to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Yeah, well, but my two favorite recordings of that were really Whitney Houston and Sandy Patty.
Oh.
So those are like the upper echelon
Whitney
of.
Houston is the
Oh,
one.
that
Yeah.
it is. I don't deny that. I just say it about Meatloaf because God rest his soul, but I really enjoyed him as a singer. And when he belted that thing out, I watched it over and over again. It would just like mesmerize me. But anyway,
Yeah.
We just had the anniversary of the young woman who forgot the words, and the basketball coach came over
Oh,
and helped her sing the rest of the anthem,
oh,
and it was awesome.
oh.
And they just celebrated again, so it was great. Now, I heard you talk a little bit about CDs, and so I trust that you have a few or some that you've got out on the market where we can buy at cd.com or something.
Yeah, so after My Romance, we put out another one called The Very Thought of You. And my pianist was also my arranger on that. And he has, a great talent. He played for Peggy Lee, if you know that name, and Bobby Rydell, and did Kraft commercials. So he did a beautiful arranging for me. And then my husband, Michael Bazin, played on that CD. And then we have one live with symphony orchestra when I was performing with the Galesburg Symphony.
Yeah.
And so I sung with several symphonies, the Galesburg Symphony, the Northwest Indiana Symphony, the Lake Geneva Symphony, a symphony out in Michigan. That's just a joy because, as we talked about the 16-piece big band and all that wall of sound.
We're in Michigan because our producer, as we speak, is in Traverse City.
Oh, that one I have to look up. That's the Whiting Symphony Orchestra.
all right.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Just over and around by the lake.
Right.
And so I have a CD with that, and then a Christmas CD. Yeah.
Wow.
Songs of the season.
Maybe we can get her out to Cougar Stadium this summer, and maybe she can sing the national anthem out there.
I think we ought to talk to Curtis when we see
Yeah.
him about that.
Yeah.
At some
Can you
point.
do "O Canada"?
I'm sure I could work it out. Yeah, it probably was in my
when
repertoire somewhere.
Winnipeg comes in, that's the only time she has to do it.
Well-
Real quick before we go to a break.
Okay.
And that is, which of those two, My Romance or The Very Thought of You, is your rendition of Georgia? Which one of those two is it on?
That is on My Romance, which is the one that was received the Grammy consideration. And all of those CDs can be found on my website at www.MaureenChristine.com.
And our crack producer will put that right on the screen for you.
That's right.
We're going to take a small break. When we get back, Maureen's going to talk about, she's mentioned her husband several times, who's an accomplished musician himself. We're going to talk about that partnership and how, a little bit about him and then that partnership and how they work together on various occasions as well. And I've had the chance to see them both perform at the same time, so it's wonderful. We'll do all that after a word from one of our fine sponsors. You stay tuned.
Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind,
Hello, friends. This is Ray Rogina. Looking to make your next move stress-free? Meet MK Movers, your trusted local moving experts. Family-owned and operated, MK Movers is dedicated to providing seamless, reliable service, from packing and storage to long-distance moves. Their experienced team treats every move with care and professionalism, ensuring your belongings arrive safely. Plus, with their eco-friendly recycled box program and commitment to transparent pricing, you'll experience a move that's both easy and responsible. Whether it's across town or across the country, MK Movers is here to help you move forward. Visit www.mkmover.com to learn more. Hello, friends. This is Ray Rogina. Take a trip through the cosmos as the Elgin Symphony Orchestra's season concludes with The Planets. May 3rd and 4th in the 𝐂𝐚𝐮𝐫𝐞𝐬 Cultural Center, music director Chad Goodman leads the Elgin Symphony in Gustav Holst's sonic celestial showpiece, The Planets. Tickets start at just $20. Order yours online, anytime, at elginsymphony.org. Well, we're back and sharing a laugh here just before we came back, but we were going to have your dear husband come here, but he was called out of town, and so we do want to give him a little bit of time in terms of the fact that you married a musician, you perform with your husband on occasion, and back, as I said offline, the first time I ever saw you perform, he was playing the woodwinds, and you had a piano player as well at the fundraiser for the History Museum in St. Charles. So it was so. First of all, your husband and I do share the fact that we were both employees of School District 303, and he was the band director at Redling Middle School for a couple of decades. How do you enjoy all of that? And I know he won some awards, and his kids won some awards. Talk to us about that a bit.
He loved it, and his students did win some awards, like Best in State. I think that he was perfect for that age group. He also teaches at the collegiate level, but his heart was really, and continues to be, with that younger generation, because there's so much for them to learn, and there's so much wisdom you can impart and inspiration, and just letting them know that music parlays into so many different things. Right. So he's incredibly patient. So he loved teaching there. He just retired this past school year from Redling.
But you said he's still teaching.
Yeah, he's still teaching. So he teaches private lessons here in St. Charles, and he is adjunct professor at McHenry County College up in Crystal Lake, and full-time musician, mostly with me at this point, but he also works with a couple different big bands.
Without getting too personal, did you meet him in a music venue?
We did. So I was in high school at West Campus in McHenry, and he actually came in to assist with the choir for my choir teacher that I loved so much. So that's actually how we met, but we didn't actually start dating until years later, and we were in a band. It was not a good band, but we connected, and he asked me to sing for a wedding ceremony with him. and kind of the sparks flew, and we started dating, and we had that musical connection from the get-go. He played so many different instruments, and he had a great sound system. And so I'm like, oh, that really bodes well for him.
Guys, if you really want to land a woman, you need a sound system. That's important.
A really good one.
Yes, really good.
Well, if they want to meet and marry a singer,
Well,
Yes.
that's all in the family. Yeah.
You mentioned the fact that he is retired, but you work with him. You mentioned the fact, and as I said before, I saw you for the first time working with him. So what percentage of the time that you perform during the year do you perform with Michael?
Probably 50% of the time, and it's looking like now that he's retired from Redling School, it's going to be more than that. So many of our concerts are together. I love his musicality. He plays all the woodwinds. So he plays tenor sax and alto sax, soprano sax, bari sax, the flute, and he got his master's degree on clarinet. So actually they call that a doubler, and that's why he would get a lot of calls for other big bands. So he's played for Milton Berle and who's the one that did Jerry Lewis?
The telethon.
Oh, yeah.
The telethons, and also Frankie Valli, Four Seasons. He played on all the videos for the Veggie Tales. So he gets called because he can play all those different instruments. It's called doubling. And I love to have him because he can play all those instruments as well. But, there's that comfort level, too. When you have your right-hand person next to you, you know that person has your back, not just musically, but personally. So there's just a great joy in making music with Michael.
Real quick, can I assume, because you mentioned this earlier about Galesburg and Rockford symphonies, can I assume there's been a time when he's played for that symphony and he's playing and you're singing in the same performance? Can I assume that?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the Galesburg Symphony, he was playing with me in both the symphony setting, and then we did a small group during a portion of that concert, and he played along with me. So a lot of our performances are myself and Michael and our pianist.
Yes.
And because you're married, you guys travel together and you save gas.
Well, yeah, and that saves me the stress of having to drive, throughout the Midwest, is having him with me as well.
Now, if I may, just a kid from the suburbs here. Woodwinds is a what?
So woodwindist. So he plays
Woodwindist.
Sax.
all the saxophones.
Oh, it's
so the
not
tenor
an
sax,
instrument unto itself.
No,
That's
the
a category.
The woodwinds are like a category,
Okay.
the plural. Yeah,
I'm
a
sorry.
woodwindist.
Research.
Yeah, the clarinet is made out of wood.
I did not know this. I did not
Now you know. And it has a reed.
So all these kids that were carrying around their clarinets, I felt sorry for them. It's just a hunk of wood.
Well, the kids are probably playing plastic because, they're more durable. But, my husband's playing the wood clarinet.
So he knows Bob Hope, I see. He played with Bob Hope.
Played with Bob Hope, that's right. And, back to Milton Berle, that was an interesting gig because Milton Berle, it was like...
Yeah, he's a comedian. I mean,
yes, but,
Some would say.
He would have a big band behind him. They play him on, they play him off, they play in between.
Oh,
and so Milton Berle that year was like 90 years old. It was the last, one of the last gigs that he had ever done. And he rolls out in a wheelchair and he is just a beast. He's got nothing positive to say. He's telling the band they don't sound good. He's telling the band they're playing too fast and too slow. And he's in the wheelchair and kind of, and then the night of the gig, he comes out, he's like standing tall because he was really tall. You remember that?
Oh, yes.
And right before he goes out, he tells the band, yeah, you guys sounded great. I just told you that to keep you on your toes.
Is that right?
And then came out and did his routine.
He's a pro. He was a pro.
Well, he came from the vaudeville era.
Yeah.
Well,
so
Cantankerous.
But I'm looking at this list.
cantankerous is the perfect
One of my favorite
word.
words.
I'm looking at this list, and I'm wondering if you guys meld this together because we got Jerry Lewis, we got Frankie Valli, and all of a sudden I see on this list the Shirelles and "Will You Love Me Tomorrow," one of my favorite songs. So that's Motown. how does he incorporate himself into that genre of music?
Well, that was actually on a cruise ship when he did the Shirelles and some of the other groups that he played for. So he was on a cruise ship, and you have to be versatile.
Have you been on a cruise ship too?
Well, yeah, I have.
With him?
No, we were separate.
All right.
Oh, the perfect
Yeah.
cruise ship is
Yeah.
what they call that. That's
And then they did want us to do together a cruising, but at the time we were gigging so much, and they wanted us to sign like a 6-month contract. So we did not do
the
that.
Love Boat is not for everybody.
It's
right?
not.
But
No.
you said he's retired, so would you consider a 2-week gig out there in the Atlantic or whatever, wherever you're going on the cruise, to perform every night? Is that your cup of tea?
I absolutely would. It probably in the cabaret club, because that's a little bit smaller. It's more intimate. You can connect with your audience. I love to connect with the audience. I love to tell stories through music. It's my favorite thing.
Do you do any Irish folk songs?
I do a handful of Irish tunes. I know you guys are going on
Yes,
tour.
yeah.
I don't know if they'd be the folk tunes. They
Wait,
are the
wait
more
a minute.
popular stuff.
You said going on tour. That's an exaggeration.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Just a Couple of Guys tour.
But
Really?
It could tour.
If I was with you, we would be on tour.
yes.
Yes.
Well, maybe if this becomes a second annual, we will invite you and Michael
We
to.
could be
We could work something out there. Although I have
You
to
could be
admit,
Milton Berle, and I could be Jerry Lewis.
Oh, okay.
I have
Or-
to admit, she'd be interesting in one of those Irish pubs singing a few Irish songs.
Right. Or they throw stuff at her. I don't
No.
know.
Oh, no.
You know,
No,
the Irish
come
are
on.
very temperamental.
Yeah, but no, that wouldn't happen.
See, you got them all missed, and you're Irish.
I'm just kidding.
Are you Irish?
There's some of the. There's some of the
My
finest.
wild Irish Rose?
There's some of the finest
That was
people.
my mom's middle name.
Rose?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very important last question here. I want you to. This is for you now. Here.
This is the big one.
Well,
Okay.
this is you, Michael, the piano player, perhaps. We ought to give him a name, by the way. At least one of the piano players that you use on a regular basis.
Keys. We call them keys, don't we?
Bobby Schiff.
All right, Bobby. But opportunity for anyone to have you come for an anniversary party, birthday party, retirement party, retirement from just a couple of guys, for
Cocktail
example.
party?
Celebration of life.
Wedding, and of course celebration of life and holiday parties. Talk to our audience about how they can contact you and Michael, and put something together.
Well, it's pretty easy. If you want to reach Michael, you can go to my website because I handle his calendar. If you want to reach both of us, you can go to my website. And it's my name.
So the husband does nothing, is what I'm hearing.
He shows up for the gig. He
shows
drives.
up.
He
He
schleps
drives.
the equipment. He
That's
does all those other important things.
He's hauling in the clarinet.
He is my Rock of Gibraltar. So, that's an important role. But
Yes.
you just go to my website, www.maureenchristine.com. And you can email me from there. You can see all of our public performances. We have some coming up, as a matter of fact. So a lot of my performances are private events, like you talked about, a cocktail party, an anniversary party, a wedding, a celebration of life. But we do have some public performances. So
But let's talk about what's coming up then.
yeah, let's talk about what's coming up.
Please.
So in a few weeks, I will be at Freedom Hall in Park Forest doing a 70s Sweethearts concert. That's a great
very
concert. Olivia Newton-John and the Carpenters and Barbara
No stopping grounds down
Streisand.
there. South
Well,
suburbs,
about it,
Park
yeah.
Forest. Yeah.
In
Nice.
the fall, I'll be at the St. Charles Public Library doing a concert for them. I'll be at Starved Rock Luncheon Theater, smack dab in the beautiful month of June, doing
June.
a Barbara Streisand tribute concert. So all of our public performances are listed on our website. In June, July, and August in McHenry, we do an outdoor summer big band concert
Oh, that'd be
series.
Bring your own
So
wine.
yeah, bring your own
It's like
wine.
Ravinia.
Yeah, it is. It's its own little
Cheese.
Ravinia. Bring your own lawn chair, bring your blanket, bring your wine, bring your cheese, or you can purchase from the vendors there.
Bring your wife.
Yeah,
I'm.
you can dance a little if you like that under the stars.
That sounds terrific.
You can find out all that information on my website.
www.maureenchristine.com.
Two names,
.com.
but one name.
Just in case you think that you might forget my name, even though we've said it a few times, you can remember me with my little phrase that I like to say. It's corny, but I like to say it.
Yeah.
Maureen Christine, your singing queen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We can't thank you enough. And let me just close by saying this, and I say this in all sincerity, only because beyond, I've watched in a couple of venues where, you have performed for functions and so on. To me, and I've sent you this notes privately, your performances, your singing in church really adds to a private situation here, and that is my faith as a practicing Catholic, and I'm going to Mass on Sunday, and you do a wonderful job there. I don't want to alienate any other singers in church, but she is certainly the best. And we can't thank you enough for coming and sharing some of your thoughts. And introduce yourself to those who may not know you here in the area, so that you're one of St. Charles' finest assets. And I say that unequivocally.
Thank you.
Maureen Christine, ladies and gentlemen. And Pat and I will be back for some closing remarks after a word from one of our fine sponsors. I'd love you. Maybe, I just thought about this. Maybe, just maybe, one of our fine sponsors will use her to sing.
That's possible.
It's very possible. Think about it,
That'd be
friends.
great.
All right, we'll be right back. Hello, friends. This is Ray Rogina, and I want to introduce you to a great Fox Valley institution. Fox Valley Credit Union is a member-owned, nonprofit, cooperative financial institution dedicated to providing accessible and affordable financial services to the community with locations in Aurora and Oswego. Its services include savings, checking, debit cards, money market, IRAs, CDs, and more. It also offers mortgages, Visa credit cards, auto loans, and a variety of other financial services. For information on becoming a member, call Fox Valley Credit Union today at 630-859-2276 or visit them online at foxvalleycu.com.
Billy, what are these chains for?
Has she been naughty this year?
And maybe you've been a bad boy yourself.
Well, this is Billy and Lauren here from the Diamond Air with affordable solutions to correct misbehavior of your loved one, or better yet, reward it.
You can reward that naughty behavior this year with a pair of beautiful solitaire earrings, or already have some? We'll enhance those studs by surrounding them with a halo of brilliant diamonds that we call earring jackets. And for that really naughty behavior, choose from a vast selection of colorless, ideal cut loose diamonds.
Because we buy our diamonds directly from the cutter, skipping the middle guy, you can give her designer quality at half the price.
So call 630-355-RING or come visit us at the Diamond Air, and we will help you keep that special someone naughty all year long.
With the Diamond Air, you will get a larger, better quality diamond for less, because remember, gentlemen, size does matter.
We're back for some closing comments. Pat, in the opening, I promised you I would introduce you to Maureen Christine. I did, and I would like you to tell me your thoughts.
Fabulous person. She sung a little bit for us.
Oh,
Yeah.
McHenry Savings and Loan. Boy, I tell you, if you can create a jingle on a bank, or in this case, a savings and loan, that's pretty solid.
After the podcast, before the close of the show, I made a deposit.
Very nice. I just thought about this, and I think maybe we ought to talk to Paul and Kevin of council
Right.
about this, and that would be that maybe she could create an opening for us.
Oh.
A new opening for us.
Just a couple of guys. Yeah, I like it.
I'm telling you, I think I'm going to send her a note. I'm going to say, I want you to be thinking about this. We have to get Paul to put the okay on this, but just something a little snappy that would get us started. That way, Paul will not have to come up with creative
We
openings
had
all the time.
we had a singing.
We did
We
have
had a
that,
singing.
and she did a fine job. And Paul doesn't want to play that, so maybe some new.
Maybe it's royalties or something, some kind of.
I don't know. Well, I'm gonna talk to her about that.
Maybe Maureen Christine could do the song, and then her husband could play the clarinet
Or
or the
right.
sax.
Or the flute, a woodwind.
A woodwindist.
Well,
I don't know what the name is.
Anyway, yeah,
I have two pairs of glasses.
I'm happy we brought her in. You know, the
Yes.
other thing I would say, I keep thinking all the time too about our slogan. We talk
We talk
everything.
everything,
And
sure.
you know what? We just keep piling it on. There are new things all the time. And by the way, if you have suggestions about individuals that you think we might
Or entities.
entities, individuals, groups we might want to talk to as part of our podcast, send us a note and we'll be happy to think about that.
Should we use your email?
Facebook. Only
Oh,
because
Facebook. I like
Facebook
that.
is easy messaging.
Just a comment
a
or in
comment,
the messenger.
In the messenger, you go, why don't you guys talk about this or that? Or the other thing?"
Everybody who has an idea or has a thought, please talk to Ray through his messenger.
Like you're on Facebook, they can talk
Oh,
to you.
yeah, but
Well,
you're kind of in charge of the messengers.
I am.
I put you in charge.
Yeah,
That
but
was
the fact of the matter is, you have arranged a few podcasts. You know.
Oh, I
So
have.
Don't make it sound like this is my agenda here. You know.
No, I just thought maybe
Kevin. In fact, next week our little trip to the casino is courtesy of Kevin.
Tell me about that trip. What are we doing?
Well, maybe we can have Kevin join in, just voice only.
Voice
but
only.
Kevin, what's going to transpire next week? Do you think?
Is Ray going to teach us how to play craps, or what's
We
going
are
on?
going to have the president and CEO of Hard Rock Rockford be the guest.
So we're going to learn a little bit about everything that's going on there at the Rockford Hard Rock Casino. Is that right?
Yep, all
And,
the restaurants, shows, the poker room, you name it. We're going to talk about it.
The poker room.
Well, I see. If it looks enticing, I may have to make both of us. We
Right.
go up there.
Aren't you driving?
Let's not worry about that now. We go up there. We
Yes.
go up there and we sit in the poker room. I do not want to sit at the same table as you, though. I can tell you that right now.
I don't know enough about poker to play poker for money, for serious money. You know, I can play roulette where the thing goes round and round.
Well, will we see a roulette?
Yeah, right.
We'll see a crap table. We'll see blackjack. We'll see, Kevin, am I right? We'll see a sports book up there where you can lay a
Yes.
wager on the White Sox or the Cub.
And this is all legal.
Absolutely all legal. Of course it's all legal, and it's bringing money. I think that'd be a question we're going to ask. How much money does it bring into Rockford? How much money does it bring into the state?
And do they have the slogan, what happens in Rockford stays in Rockford?
That I can't say for sure, but I would think that Kevin or Cindy Ketchum could comment on whatever happens in Rockford stays in Rockford.
Next thing you know, Ray and Pat are at the casino for 3 days.
Well, that's coming up here. So anyway, all right,
right.
it's time for us to stop this tomfoolery.
Sure.
and move
Shenanigans.
along. A wonderful podcast today. I thoroughly enjoyed Maureen Christine, and I know that if you go to one of her concerts or events or go on her website, I'm sure you will agree with me.
It got me to think about a celebration of my life and whether I'm going to have music or not. You know what I mean? I haven't decided yet. There might be some
I just know
cartoons
that,
or
Pat, I
something.
just know this much. If you go before I do, I will come to your wake.
I appreciate that.
All right. So enough said on that
And
topic.
for those who
Only-
are thinking about not coming, please reconsider.
All right, they will. So for our distinguished, I'm gonna change it from our crafty now because I think he's moved into the distinguished level.
Well, he's wearing a shirt that matches your shoes. So
All right.
you guys have a thing going.
That's point one. But more importantly,
Yes.
he's crafting all these different events and agenda. He's made us what we are today. I think. I don't want to say it more so than Paul, but really, if you think about it for a second, he's crafted more interviews than Paul Stukel, whatever.
Oh.
By the way, Paul, I don't want to go near Paul Stukel today. And the reason I don't is because the Illini took a big whipping yesterday, and he's angry, and he's mad, and he's sensitive, and he's beside himself.
Right.
And I just don't want to go near Paul Stukel today. So I'm not going to, other than Paul, I'm sorry they lost. I wanted to win, but
I tried to. My daughter went to U of I, as you know.
she got a graduate degree. from U of I.
Graduate degree.
What is her undergraduate?
ISU.
There, very
She's
good.
a fighting hawk or whatever.
Fighting Redbird.
But so I tried to say go Illini, and then I couldn't find a Native American. So I put a police chief. Right? I mean, I didn't know what else to do.
I don't know what.
I'm just an NIU kid from the suburbs.
That's okay. All right. So anyway, for our distinguished cinematographer, and of course he is the publisher of Fox Valley Magazine.
That's right.
Our guy, Kevin, thank you, sir, for another job well done.
His lovely wife, present.
Cindy's in the studio today.
I don't know what she's doing over there. Knitting? Are you knitting? No, she's not.
She's not knitting.
Did you ever see the Conan O'Brien podcast?
No.
They have the actual editor of the podcast on the podcast.
Well, and that's why I asked Kevin to join us today, because I think about as we move along here in our closing,
Yes.
get him involved a little bit more.
Right.
Paul makes a cameo appearance, and everything, but he's always behind the curtain.
And you know who's clamoring to be a part of it is Lon Chaney, but he's on the back burner right now.
Lon Chaney. All right. And for my partner, the singing man himself. Very nice.
Very nice.
Pat Crimmins, yours truly, Ray Rogaine, wishing you all a very, very pleasant week. It's going to get warmer. The March is roaring toward April. Ireland.
Comes in like a lion, goes out like a lamb.
Yeah, exactly right.
What is this?
I think that's correct.
Yeah.
Ray Rogaine saying so long. Oh, I forgot. Pat and Ray.
Ray and Pat.
Just a couple of guys. So long, everyone.
All right. Wow.